And an update on the Israelis who attacked the convoy. Fucking 5 hours in.
Exodus from Rafah is gathering steam this morning. The UN says more than 450,000 Palestinians have already left. President Biden has warned Israel not to invade because of the risk of civilian casualties.
America said that they are pressuring, but you see the pressure, nothing's happening.
Israel says Hamas has 4 battalions of fighters in Rafah and insists going into the city is the only way to clear them out. But will it work? Hamas's tactics are evolving. Its fighters have regrouped in northern Gaza, which the Israeli military...
Wait, I don't get it. Doesn't this imply that, like, you suck shit and that you just can't do the thing that you claimed you were going to do? Like, you killed tens of thousands of women and children, and like, and what do you have to show for it? Nothing. You flattened Gaza, and your dudes are still getting murked. It might have something to do, in my opinion. I'm no big city lawyer. I'm no IDF Rear Admiral General. I am, after all, too old to be a general in the IDF, of course. I am 32 after all. I would have had to be medically retired by the IDF at that point. But the one thing I have seen is a flattened Gaza. The one thing I have seen is tens of thousands of dead children, babies, premature born babies, women, children, elderly, men, an entire fucking open air prison flattened to the ground with the overarching goal of ending Hamas. And I thought they cleared northern Gaza, and it turns out Hamas is still there. The only thing Israel has to show for it, however, is like blowing up houses, controlled demolitions of buildings near the Gaza envelope inside the Gaza Strip. And it's like, maybe if Israel spent less time like murdering children and more time, I don't know, doing anything but murdering children, really. I can't even think of anything else that Israel should be doing in this circumstance. They would have had a better way of dealing with Hamas, considering that you have to deal with them politically. There is no violent military solution to Hamas, because Hamas in and of itself is simply a means of emancipation. It is a defensive posture against the apartheid regime and all of the violent mechanisms that maintain it. You can kill people, but you can't kill an idea. If you kill people and then continue to imprison them, there's going to be a Hamas too. After all, Hamas itself is an evolution off of other forms of resistance, both in certain instances violent and in many notable instances nonviolent. You can't keep people trapped and orphan them and then expect them not to engage in violent resistance. After all, that is how we arrived at Hamas. And many people, even people in this community, were probably oblivious to this reality before October 7. So, understandably so, they probably looked at this situation and saw the atrocities and thought, Hamas is starting this war. Why are they doing that? Not realizing that the entire Palestinian resistance forces are comprised of orphan children whose parents have died in prior sieges, whose entire life has been one of being victimized by mass surveillance and endless bombing campaigns. Never to this severity, of course, but, you know, it's probably still pretty fucking radicalizing when they only kill 2,000 people. Probably pretty fucking radicalizing when they blow up your school. Oh, but they gave a knock first. They actually sent an artillery shell ahead of time to let you know that, you know, if you don't evacuate, you're going to fucking die in the rubble. Pretty sure if I did that to you and your family, you'd want to fucking kill me. I don't think it would be Islamophobia that guides you in that circumstance. I think it would probably be the fact that I did that to you, your loved ones, and your form of existence. A reality that Ehud Barak and Ami Ayalon also have openly admitted to understanding, when they both, under different circumstances, have openly admitted that they would probably join Hamas or any number of different terror cells if they were on the other side of the border. That is why so many people personally could not come to terms with my commentary in the immediate aftermath of October 7. But that is also why so many people are now coming to reckon with that reality 7 months and 35,000 dead people later. And 35,000 in that situation is, of course, a conservative estimate. Remember,
digging in for a long guerrilla war. The Biden administration says Israel needs a long-term plan for Gaza and that the goals expressed by Israeli leaders may not be realistic.
Total victory. I don't think we believe that that is likely or possible, and that this looks a lot like situations that we found ourselves in after 9/11.
Hamas used to run the services in Gaza, but now it's nowhere to be found. It started the war with Israel and then went underground to fight it. What little aid Gazans receive comes from humanitarian workers. The State Department says it's aware of reports that some American medical volunteers are now trapped after Israel seized control of Rafah's border crossing with Egypt. We spoke to Dr. Amar Ghanem from Michigan.
We have been trying to help, but the need is above what you can imagine.
Israel controls the flow of everything in and out of Gaza, and some Israelis want to stop the flow of aid completely. Extremists have begun attacking trucks, believing food and medicine should not be allowed in as long as Hamas holds hostages. Support in Israel for destroying Hamas is nearly universal, but there are deep divisions here about Prime Minister Netanyahu's handling of the war. At an event,
they're like, we all want to fucking murk the Palestinians, but like the aesthetics of Benjamin Netanyahu are not great.
commemorating...
How extreme are they viewed in Israel? The settlers? A big chunk of Israeli society before October 7 considered the settlers to be gross, inbred, fundamentalist hicks that give Israel a bad name. If you recall, pre-October 7, Israel still had this, like, I would say, tint of liberal Zionism in their Western communications, in spite of Benjamin Netanyahu's best attempts at kind of destroying that, what remaining momentum that had. A lot of Israeli society, like I said, considers them to, at the very worst, be like uneducated, inbred, fundamentalist hicks who don't fucking read, who don't know how to read, and don't serve in the goddamn military for a religious exemption, and actually are welfare queen freeloaders because they get everything paid for by the Israeli state. You're referencing Tel Avivites? Sure. But a shit ton of people in Israel live in Tel Aviv. So what the fuck are we talking about? That's the second largest Jewish city on the planet after New York City. The largest benefits for the settlers actually still come from American Christians. American Christians are the number one funders and facilitators of Israeli settlement projects.
All Israeli soldiers, Prime Minister Netanyahu was heckled. Savannah?
All right. Richard Engel, thank you very much.